Welcome to your weekly Social Jack Influence Factory. Introducing your coaches, Dean Delisle, Kate Hassett, and Jackson Delisle.
What's happening?
Hello.
Hey,
How's everybody doing today?
good. How are you?
Yeah, good. I know you guys are fighting a cold, so we're just giving you well wishes and hope you feel better out there for sure. Who else out there in our listener land has a cold? All of a sudden, I noticed that ever since the kids went back to school, or something's going on. The germs just started to spread everywhere. You know?
Yep. Yeah, no, it's definitely getting that time of year. I always joke because I always see when I go into like a Walgreens or a CVS, I always see, get your free flu shot. It's flu season, but it's like always flu season, you know? It's like
Yeah.
never not flu season. There's always a special on flu shots.
Well,
But
the good news is you guys get yours over early. Okay, so with that being
yeah,
said, welcome everybody to the another episode of the Influence Factory, where we're here to help inspire you to build your influence and educate, inspire, and some entertainment, of course. So don't forget, Kate, if people want to join you on social media, how do they do that?
So you can follow us LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. We're everywhere at Get Social Jack. But during this program, if you want to live tweet and win some prizes, follow us at Get Social Jack. Use the hashtag Influence Factory, and you can also follow our special guest Frank Montro. And don't forget, we got a Starbucks gift card for the most Twitter engaged, twin gauged.
Twin Gauge. Yeah, you just hashtag Twin Gauge. I think
I
you
did
just
it.
made
Yep,
something up
it
there.
happened.
For sure. Okay, everybody, welcome from all of us here in the Chicago studio to all of you out there in the world, wherever you're listening. Don't forget to maybe turn off your cell phone, close your email just for a minute, those disruption, but take some notes. We want you to walk away with some things that you can take away based on what you hear in the news today or what you hear in our mini lesson or maybe inspired from what Frank's going to say today. A lot of good stuff coming in today's program. So with that being said, don't forget to ask questions in the questions area in the GoToWebinar taskbar. So just before this, we were talking about off the air about where we listen to our music. So type in, how do you get your music? What's the best source to get your music? So I'm a Pandora person. Jackson, you said you're Spotify, right?
yes.
And then Kate, what about you?
I like Spotify and I also like YouTube because they do a good job of suggesting other things that I'll like to listen to. So I like both of those.
Right on. How about let's see, we got Jimmy. Jimmy Z likes iTunes playlist he's made and Pandora. Shirley Miller likes the good old radio
Yes,
FM.
a
Yes.
woman after my own heart. I love that.
I know. It does. Jackson does drive him a little nuts sometimes when he's driving with me because I'll like put AM radio on. Does anybody know what that is? That's the other button.
Ew.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that because a lot of it's news and stuff like that. Like I liked and I get it, Like it's not that I enjoy it, but I understand where you're coming from.
Although now that I've gotten into podcasts, I probably should try to give AM radio another chance. Now that I'm used to that, I
It's the
think maybe I wouldn't hate
inspiration.
it.
Yeah,
There you
it's the
go.
inspiration. It's the inspiration because a lot of the talk shows are on there. So, and
Well,
I listen to,
sports on AM radio
yes.
is good.
Yeah, that's all I really listen to is sports. So,
There you go.
and then Shirley is AM baseball. Yes, that's where it's at. And then let's see. Oh, Xfinity will save music video playlist too. I did not know that. Thank you, Jimmy Z. That's pretty cool. All right, and then Jackson. After today's program, these are stored all over the interwebs at their favorite podcast downloadable places. What are some of those places?
You can get it on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spreaker, and SoundCloud. And then if you'd like to watch the recording, you can go and watch it on our YouTube page. So make sure to go check that out. And if you click subscribe on any of those channels, you'll get a little notification every time we upload a new episode.
Yeah, and they usually go up within an hour or two after the program too, right?
Yep.
Right on, right on, right on. Okay, and don't forget, those of you that are Social Jack subscribers, you can go to Social Jack and you can get all the show notes there. You can also access downloads, links, all that cool stuff as well. Make sure that when you log in, you also check the Resource Center because we have all kinds of forums, videos, all kinds of cool stuff for you there. So make sure you check that out. And of course, the cool thing is getting your discounts. So we have 4 classes coming up, actually 5 classes coming up. We have 3 webcasts. We'll be announcing those next week that are coming up right quick starting in September. We also have an influencer development workshop coming up here in the Chicago location, and then a virtual social selling class as well. So lots going on. We also have the Blockchain Summit in Chicago, Friday, October 19th. If you'd like tickets for that, please hit us up independently and we'll make sure that we get you access to that. We'll also be streaming that all over the world, compliments of the Social Jack production crew, Jackson and crew. Okay, so real quick, we have some influencer news. So Jackson, do you want me to show the news or show the slide?
You can show the slide first.
I got it. Okay, so here we have, what is this? What are we looking at?
So basically, Instagram tests a new recommendations feature to boost content discovery, which is a lot like what Facebook did in 2013 to help show users relevant content. This was very helpful since a lot of people follow or are connected to too many pages or people, so they can't get all the content, and showing them relevant content is always going to be the best option. So this is going to be things that they're interested in based on their like patterns, things like that. So now at the bottom of your Instagram feed, once you've scrolled through, about a month ago, Instagram released a tool called All Caught Up, and basically it's just this little notification down at the bottom that says you're all caught up. You've scrolled through your entire newsfeed. Well, this is basically a complement to that. So that shows, once it says you're all caught up, it now shows underneath that, here's some recommended posts for you. Here's recommended off of what people you follow, people you like a lot, things like that. So this is going to be real cool in basically social listening. That's a big thing that it'll be good for. But also it helps to broaden the horizons of who you're following and watching and paying attention to on Instagram. So
yeah, and I notice, like, I use Twitter a lot. So what I like is it's like you just missed these things from people that I normally engage with. So it feels like they're catching me up with people that I might have missed, because Twitter's in the moment. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and that's all for this article. The rest of the article is actually going to be in the resource center at app.socialjack.com. You can go there and check it out, read the rest of this.
Got it. Speaking of Instagram, Kate, what's this one telling us?
Yeah, so I already feel people probably tuning out, but because this is Instagram and a lot of people aren't really on it, but I want you to focus on this one.
Wait. To everybody who's on Instagram, just so we know, I just want Kate to know that we're not tuning out. Shirley's on it.
Good. I feel like sometimes we get feedback that not everybody uses Instagram, but Jackson pulls these articles because of how many changes Instagram is making right now. So if you're not, it's really important to be paying attention, especially for those who have asked us why they should be doing Instagram stories. So this awesome infographic is going to show you how to use the stories specifically to grow your business, and has some awesome case studies from CoverGirl and other brands. So definitely check out this article when he sends it in the follow-up notes. But in case you didn't know, 400 million active daily users on Instagram.
What?
400 million a day. So that's a really big number. And on average, each of them are spending 28 minutes specifically on Instagram stories. So if you haven't used them yet to, show your content, there's a couple really good ways to do it that they explain in this infographic. My favorite, if you scroll down a little bit, Dean, It breaks it down on what specifically people are using their stories to put out, what kind of content right here. The first one is product promotion. So if you're bringing out a new product, if you have a demo, something like that, it's great content for an Instagram story. Also an inside look, which we like to use Facebook Lives for. Maybe we should switch over to Instagram stories, a little behind the scenes production type thing. Those are great, right, relevant, good, authentic content. And then third on the list is an influencer takeover, which is a great idea.
Yes.
If you're getting into influencer marketing, give them the option to do a little story on your Instagram. It makes for fantastic content. So if you haven't thought about Instagram stories, check out this infographic, and it's a great way to dive in.
Yeah, and Jackson, see Miriam's note in there. So also one thing, Miriam, I believe you are a VA, right? So virtual assistant. So in the spirit of a virtual assisting, you guys are probably some of the smartest people I know, where you could educate and inspire us on how to be more, and a career coach. Holy smokes, you should be Instagramming all over the place. You could give career advice and tips and techniques and use it to educate the world. So Shirley's like, I think we need an Instagram class, Kate. There's a hint. That's more your guys' department than mine.
I love it.
All right, put it on the list. So real quick, so I want to know who knows what 400 million users per day, you said?
Per day. Active users.
28 minutes on average they spend in stories?
Just on stories, not even scrolling.
Do you know how many total minutes that is per day?
A lot.
Yeah, neither does my calculator. So it did this. So it's like, I think it's what is that? Is that exponent of 10 or something like that? 1 point. Yeah, I know. So I broke my iPhone, but don't try to do this at home. So
our marketing brains can't do numbers like that.
Yeah, call accounting quick. Okay. Super quick, because we have all these classes coming up. I'm going to do a quick influencer lesson. We're going to bring our guest on in just a minute. I'm going to do a quick poll here, and we're going to let Kate and Jackson rest their cold for a minute. So we'll bring you guys back at the end. So sneeze away. All right. So real quick. So these are the following classes that are coming up. Let us know. We'll put you on the waiting list. Some of those are live. Some of these are broadcasts. But nonetheless, we want to make sure you do not miss out on these. So just click on the ones that you want to be added to, and we will make sure you get added. So super quick. My influencer lesson today has to do with, and this has a lot to do with our guest, but it's about the power of authenticity. And so you've taken our class called The Power of Authenticity, and it is in the Resource Center. But if we look at the fact that a lot of times people want to know the real you, and sometimes when we're doing social media or we create a profile, we try to puff it up a little bit just because, that's maybe how we've been taught, or that's what we think people want to hear. But what people really want to hear is the real you. They want to get to know the real you and sort of take away some of that, I don't know, that fakeness feel to it. So we'd like to practice about the power of authenticity. So remember that every single post is a conversation. It's not a promotion. Remember that every single conversation should lead to another conversation. And then when people go to your profile, it should be conversational. So I want you to do that test, write it down today, and look at yourself on the internet. Are you being authentic and conversational? So real quick, I'm going to bring my guest on, Frank Montro. Come on down, Frank. So Frank scored, check this out, a hole-in-one twice in golf, which is like, hitting the lotto twice. One double eagle in golf, got a perfect score on a 150 question test in college. The teacher said it was the first in 20 years to do that. Little League had a season where he made 0 errors and never struck out. Wow. And found his life purpose by switching jobs. So we're going to dig into a little bit of this on Frank. But Frank, welcome.
Hi, Dean. How are you? I'm glad to be here, and thanks for asking me to come.
Yeah, good. And thanks for joining us from your home today. It's a good reason not to go back to the office, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But
you're still going to go anyway.
I mean, the nice thing about modern technology is you can work from anywhere. I mean, I do more work in a car waiting for someone to show up sometimes than I do anywhere else. So that's the beauty of modern technology.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, so you and I met. I want to say it was I know it was over 10 years ago. We were, I want to say, were you at Darren Steen's gym at the time?
Right. Yeah.
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 And
And I think,
we met through Darren, and I think eventually you had that one little group on Lakeshore Drive, and
yep.
so the
Yeah.
Onacano.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
Those
was doing business. Yeah. They were clients of mine. So we were doing business with them. And then, yeah. So it's like, wow, man, that seemed like 2 lifetimes ago.
doesn't it though?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But I just want to thank you. You've always been a good friend, and I mentioned about the power of authenticity because you know that anytime you and I have ever spoke, I always feel like I get the real Frank. You know what I mean? It's like no BS. It's like the real person, and you know I can, if I think you're doing something wrong or something's wrong or you're saying something wrong or something's not good or not right, you know, it's like I feel like I can tell you, and I think you have that same freedom with me, right?
Yeah, Dean, being a wired up like a type A personality, I don't have any choice. It's in my blood. So I just don't, I just, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to listen to stories.
Yeah.
Just the facts, ma'am. Come just sit down, tell me what the facts are. I'm a problem solver, so I love helping people. I love providing excessive value, and so I don't know. That's just the way I was wired. I think I owe a lot to my dad because my dad was my best friend, and he came off the boat from Italy, and he's just a regular stand-up guy. What I learned from him was through his actions. I learned hard work is a good thing.
Yeah.
Work is good for the soul. Today's philosophy is that you see books like the 4-hour work day or work week or whatever the heck it is, and people think that hard work is bad. Oh, my guys, you work all those hours, or you work too hard. And I hear all the, hey, look, this is what I like to do.
Yeah.
So I like teeing it up in the morning and going full speed. Why is that bad? So and the other thing is my dad was a man of his word. So I like dealing with people that are stand-up people.
Yeah, that's good.
I can shake their hand, and I know I can go to sleep that night, and I don't have to worry about the next day whether that deal's together or not. I always tell people, look, if you're going to screw me early, and let's get it over with. Let's do one deal. Go in the direction. I don't want to see you again. Your best view is in my rearview mirror. That's one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah, I like that.
If I'm dealing with somebody I don't like, get in my rearview mirror, because I just want to deal with good, honest people like myself that want to make a difference in this world, and they're out there, and you gotta look hard, but they're out there.
Yeah, that's interesting. One thing that you and I were talking about this, and we always said about the work ethic thing, and I think we have a lot of loyal listeners that come on that are really dedicated to improving themselves, doing better. We're all about education, and I talked a little bit about inspiration and education. And it's funny, there'll be times where I'm like, I don't feel like, everybody has a down day, that I don't care how positive you are. And you and I have been through, Robbins and Ziegler and all the best motivational stuff in the world. And what sort of helps out on a lot of days, like if I feel down or I feel like I'm not jumping up, is I'll be like, I'll log into Facebook and then I see one of your positive posts in there because I think you're at least 3 a day, in terms of positive posts. And that actually helps me. So not only are you authentic, but you're motivational too. And does that help you as well when you're doing that?
You know what? Yeah. So it's interesting you bring that up. What's really cool is because I go to a lot of events. Like I was at one last night, a great event with a lot of top producers, and I get people come up to me, hey man, you don't know me, but my wife calls it, oh, another one of your invisible friends. Yeah, you were Facebook buddies. I'm like, okay, what's your name again? But they're like, man, I read your stuff every day. Some guy called me up the other day and said, hey, you know what I do? Every time I have a team meeting, I go on a Facebook and I just pull up your page and I look at I've had several people tell me that, and that's fun, because I use it to feed my brain, because you get so many there's so many negative comments and people don't even realize that they're negative. You know, and if they heard themselves, if you tape yourself for an hour, you might surprise yourself what you say. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, we bought into what everybody else is around us says, and our environment and our parents and what's on TV, and we buy into all that stuff, and there's no doubt that our environment influences us. So why not have a positive environment? Why not constantly? So I just realized that I need to change the way I think, and I need to change the way I act, but I have to change the way I think first. And so the best way to do it, what works for me is affirmations and constantly bombarding my mind, because there's so much garbage around us. And a lot of times we can't avoid it. We're dealing with people that we have to deal with, and we got to sit there and listen to negativity. And I don't even think that a lot of people realize what they're doing. So it's always a joy to hear when somebody, you know, tells me a story. Hey man, you know, you don't really know me, but we're Facebook friends, and I read your stuff and I look forward, and you know, that's why I always ask people, please comment on this, because that charges my batteries. When I see that somebody says I really needed that today, I can't tell you how down in the dumps I was. That just motivates me to want to post more. And I just don't post for posting's sake. You know, I put out, when something really resonates with me, I'm going to put it online. I'm like, this is awesome. You know, it really charged me up today. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to pass it along. You know, another thing too is these affirmations. I would recommend, and I encourage people out there to put a list of affirmations together, and always improve your list. I'm always adding, subtracting. I figure there's certain things that work for me that work. Like my biggest motivator, Dean, actually is this one line where, you know, it's all about creating a sense of urgency. So here's what I mean. When are you automatically going to do something? When you have a certain type of fear. So let's say you're crossing the street and you're a kid, because as an adult we don't cross the street with cars come on, right?
Right. So we hope not.
Right. So let's say I'm crossing the street and all of a sudden a car comes flying around a corner. I don't need to ask myself or say, you know, gosh, I'm so tired today, I'm not going to move out of the way. I'm on autopilot. I am in full Carl Lewis mode, sprinting across the street. So if I can create that in my mind, and I can create a sense of urgency, then I'm gonna perform a lot better. And that one of the greatest secrets the greatest gifts I can pass on to the listeners is learn to create a sense of urgency. So yeah, even when I'm tired, you know, I think, hey, look, if I don't work hard now, there's somebody behind me that's gonna take all my business away. I have a target because of the volume I do. I have a target. I hear comments about me all the time that are untrue, and I see posts about me that are untrue. You know, and all I can do is focus on what I do, and not worry about what other people are doing. Let them stew, and the easiest thing to do is sit back and criticize. You know, success, like John Maxwell says, success is uphill. So every day you have to be intentional with what you do. It just doesn't happen. You know, just sitting there and say, well, man, I can't wait for the economy to turn around. I can't wait. No. You got to go out and create it. I go out and create business every day. And to do that, I have to wire this thing right. I have to amp this thing up right. That's my responsibility to me, to my family, and to my God. And I have this great gift called life. And I get a chance to breathe today and experience life and experience my family. And you better believe that I get emotional because I live this stuff. Yeah, and when you start doing your affirmations and it becomes a part of you, then you appreciate, you appreciate the hard work. Hard work to me is a gift. It's a gift from my Lord and Savior for me to go. This is my thank you back to him. I'm going to go out and I'm going to make a difference in this world today. I don't know how people live living for a paycheck. Yeah, I'd probably be tired. I'd probably be tired and lazy, and just that if I had a 9 to 5, I don't know how people do it, man.
Yeah, and then
I'm having so much fun, man, helping people out, creating value, passing value on it. Just how how I can do it any other way. I slow down. I know I don't want to slow down. I
so
like my
yeah, for sure. So our so most everybody that's on with us is a business owner, entrepreneur, and most of us have to, have that some level of wiring or motivation to drive us or keep us going. And for those of you that don't know Frank, we started out with the personal introduction on purpose because this is about the power of authenticity. It's about human to human marketing, human to human. And we help Frank, or Kate's team helps support Frank on the professional posts of social media, which I'd say is maybe 30% of what you put out there. But the 70% that you put out there is very personal and connected, and that's the mission that I want everybody, and I want to encourage you to look at Frank's channels. I'd say mostly on Facebook. You're doing a majority of that posting on Facebook, but being one of the top realtors here in Chicago, you have a very successful business. You just got named again. Last year, you were top 10 for social media realtors, top producers in social media, and now you were named #1 in Chicago for social media. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we love being part of that as part of your team. But I think the part that makes it up, the biggest fight we have with people on social media is we're like, we need you to show up with us. Could you imagine, and we've had a lot of top producers. I'm just looking on her to make sure I'm not going to make anybody angry, but we've had a lot of top producers that we help them put content up. But we're like, at the end of the day, we can't be you. You have to be you. And it is so hard. I'm telling you, you are like literally just like the top producers are 1% of the country. You are the 1% of social media best practice. When we say, if we could get all of our clients to show up like Frank, it would be like a miracle, because then we get the real human that people actually connect and attach to. Because every other realtor on the planet can, has open houses, has listings, has everything else. But the fact is that there's only one Frank Montro, and I can attest to that.
Thanks. Well, you know what? And so a sidebar to that. What I tell people is love what do what you love what you do. I love talking about affirmations. I love talking about positive posts because it gives me that rush. It just jacks me up. And that's what I'm attracted to. And so I love talking about that stuff. I love talking about real estate. So I'm not the guy that just wants to sell a house and collect my paycheck. I want to help people. So I've got that gene inside of me. I got that void in my heart. If I'm not helping people, I'm not happy. So the way I've learned to help people is to learn everything out there. Just continue. Right. I'm on a mission every day to make myself better. In fact, another cool tip, Dean, that this is a game changer. At the end of every day, I take about 5 minutes and I just say, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And what do I need to change? And so, if I was short with somebody during the day because I was all hyped up, so I just remind myself, look, if I want to, I got to make sure I'm respectful to everybody. I need to call that person back and tomorrow make amends, or whatever it is. I'm not perfect, and nobody is. And when you're going full speed, and things happen. So you're going to make mistakes. But the cool thing is when you do that 5-minute review and then you have a plan of action, after about a year, the amount of growth is staggering. I remember when I started doing that with affirmations, and I'd do my review, and then my wife, after a year, just one morning she woke up, she looked at me, she goes, "What happened to you? You've changed for the better." I said, "Hey, it's affirmations and doing this review." Now, here's a big secret. It takes work. You know, it takes discipline, just like anything else in life. If you're willing to commit to it, you can make a radical change. So really, you know, to rewind even further, you know, how bad do you want it? I mean, do you really want to be, you know, everybody wants to be a millionaire, a billionaire, all that stuff, but not everybody, very, very few people want to put in the work. And if you don't put in the work, you can't get a upgraded PC or an upgraded cell phone or whatever. You know, that doesn't get you there. It's still the foundation. Everybody that is on my team is a hard worker, or they're going to leave. And then I will teach them, you know, the correct business model to make money, because you can work hard in any business and make zero money by not focusing on the highest ROI activities. So that, you know, that in itself is important as well too. Learning, and if you're new into business and you're wondering what is the highest ROI activity, the easiest thing to do, what I did is I looked at top producers. What are they doing? So then I started copying, you know, taking different things and started adding them in and copying. There's no law saying that I can't copy success. I mean, that's what most people do. They come in, you know, you wonder, how did this guy get here? You know, where did they, now there's this new person in my lane. They copied success. That's all they did. You know, they put in the work. That's all. How come they, you know, people, how come I'm not doing any business? Because you're not working consistently every day, Charlie. So you got to do it every day. Not, you know, not I work 3 days, I'm ready to retire. You know, or I worked my butt off for 3 years, I'm ready to retire. I shouldn't have to do this anymore. That's the mindset of the average out there, is they think that, you know, they think that they should just apply themselves. This is a lifestyle for me. This is a way of life. I love it.
So with that being said, you know, one of the interesting things is that you know, when I was first building one of my first businesses, I was in my late 20s, and I was always like, well, I've got to do this on my own. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs do this too, where they're like, they have to go somewhere, they have to prove their model out, and then they have to launch, you know, and then they're going to come out and there's going to be a parade and they're going to make millions of dollars and it's going to be great. One of the things I was fortunate enough to learn early, and Jackson, I want you to hear this because we just had this discussion, is that when I was first starting out, I was like, you know, this wise older gentleman, you know, leaned into me and he was like, hey, he goes, I want you to know that every single person around you is somebody that you can talk to and has been through an experience that will help you out, and listen to those people. And so as I was listening to that, you know, and he's like, just keep talking to people and then listen, talk to people and then listen. And so what was interesting is about, like, this is when I'm bussing tables in a restaurant, so I'm partially tuned in, you know. So then 10 years later, I've got this business started and I'm like, I really want to grow. And there was like 10 other top producers in the country, and I'm talking to the person that's part of this product line. And he's like, well, why don't you just talk to Jim Smith up in Canada? I said, well, he's the top producer. He goes, yeah, he'll tell you exactly how he's doing it. He'll tell you exactly what he's doing. Because you know what? He was sitting here at one point too, and he let everyone help him and teach him what he didn't know. And they were so willing to help and mentor him. And that's why, you know, not just with my parents being teachers, but I've been inspired to, you know, I educate people every day of my life. And so for me, I just want to constantly teach and teach and teach and teach and teach, because I know that if it wasn't for the people that I listened to that taught me, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I mean, you agree with that?
100%. And here's the other thing, that if you're out there and you're thinking about jumping in a certain business and you really love it, don't be afraid to call somebody up that's very successful and say, hey, can I buy you lunch? Can I buy a cup of coffee? I'd love to hear your story. People love to talk about themselves. They don't like talking about other people. You know, it's our human nature to love to talk about ourselves. So don't be afraid, you know, to call them up and throw a compliment in their face and say, man, I really admire everything you accomplished. I'm blown away. You know, it would be an honor for me to take you to lunch. Would you be? willing to meet with me next week. What's better, Tuesday or Thursday for you? You know, give them a couple options and then keep pursuing them until they meet with you. And yeah, absolutely. You know, success leaves clues. So does failure. So does failure. And so, yeah, now there's books. There's you can go to YouTube and you can fall asleep every night on YouTube. There's all these success stories on YouTube. There's there's podcasts. So a lot of these successful people are getting in the game and they're sharing their information. And what you'll find out is the really top people in the world give it away. So you get you grind and get your model and you keep doing your thing. But then there's a point where you can pass it on to other people. And guess what? Guess what? Most people, Dean, will never ever amount to anything because this goes back to the fact that they don't want it bad enough. They're looking for give me something, you know. So like I remember reading a review on Grant Cardone, who is just absolutely killing it right now, and the review said, oh, his books are horrible. All they talk about is hard work and this is ridiculous. I don't need this. I'm looking for, you know, some kind of way I can, you know, start making money the easy way. You know, they're really, I mean, it played the lottery, I guess, you know, play the lottery and hope you get lucky. I mean, otherwise, all these top guys, Mark Cuban, Grant Cardone, all the, you know, these millionaires and billionaires, they don't sit around and drink martinis all day or margaritas all day and sit on the beach. They're out there hustling every day, and they're building teams, and they're expanding, and they're working just as hard, but they're working smarter. So those are the two key ingredients. Is you have to be committed. You know, hey, look, if I want to look, don't kid yourself. If you're not willing to be all in and jump in, then don't fool yourself. I mean, you're wasting your time. Maybe, you know, maybe you're a 9-to-5 person. Maybe that's the way you're wired. And I mean, I've had people come on my team and they've left because they're just not, they're not wired. They're better off working in a different type of job that meets their needs. And so that's, you know, that's the one thing that I would definitely recommend, Dean, to people out there. Do a disc test, do a personality test, see how you're wired. You may not be wired to be a leader. Hey, yeah, I want to be the next Mark Cuban. I want to, you know, I got to get that money. Hey, you know what? Having money doesn't lead to happiness. What leads to happiness is doing what you're here to do, doing what you're wired to do, and you find out. So it's my responsibility to find out who I am. And I told my son is a senior this year. I said, you're going to sit down. In fact, I just had this conversation with him yesterday. It's time. You're sitting down this weekend and you're going to take the disc test. I'm pretty sure I know what he's going to do, but the disc test doesn't lie. It don't lie, folks. Trust me. It's crazy because I remember when I took the test, I saw it says I'm a high D.
I was going to say you got to be a high D.
So guess what? So it's like I'm like 99.9%. So I'm like, yeah, baby, you know, another Mel, real life Mel Gibson. So then she goes, now let's talk about your weaknesses. So I'm like, all right, bring it, I got this. And so she goes, your biggest weaknesses, you're oversensitive. And I let out a swear. I'm like, BS. And she goes, gotcha. I'm like, so every time now, I'm like gun shy a little bit. Every time somebody like acts really weird toward me, I always turn to my wife. Am I being oversensitive? But I think this person's being an a-hole toward me, blah, blah. And she goes, yeah, you are. And so, but that's a cool thing. So
I love assessment too. Can people chime in? Tell us what your favorite assessment is. I'm an assessment junkie, so I have a lot of coaching clients that do coaching and deliver assessments and things like that. And I've taken a whole bunch, and I purely think they're genius and magical, but some of them are shocking. Like, how do they know? I just answered a few questions, you know, and it's like, how did they know that's who I am or how I'm wired?
I've had people laugh, you know, when I do their disc tests. They're like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I said, these questions have nothing to do with my personality. How did they take these answers, and they're just like, just devastated, I don't want to say devastated, but they're just blown away with that. They're like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Which is cool though, because then sometimes, like I was broadsided with the oversensitive thing, but when I thought about it, I'm like, wow, yeah, that's me. I just didn't want to face it. So, hey guys, great deal. So if you, great idea is to take, I like the disc test. That's one of my favorites. I don't know which one you like, Dean.
Yeah,
but I think
Roger just said he's a certified disc facilitator for 30 years. And Roger, I think you're in mortgage, right? He's up. Yeah, I believe he's in mortgage. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I love and you know what I like about it too, Frank. I'm sure you do this, but it tells you how to manage people. So if you have someone take it,
yeah,
it helps you. It helps you how to
tells you how to communicate with them.
Yeah.
So like with me, I get there was an investor and my wife were reading the report, and I just hear them like gut laughing, because it says to me, because I'm such a strong D, it says, get it when you go and approach Frank at his office. Don't talk about anything but the facts, and get out of his office as fast as you can. And you know what? When I get rolling, I mean, I'm so zoned in. I'm just, I'm the Mel Gibson. I'm just charging. I don't need to be pulled over. Well, oh yeah, hey, wow, yeah, it's really nice outside. That's really cool. No, man, I just need to be going. And so I don't, I don't want to hear stories. Somebody goes, can I tell you the story? And like, no. I said, just give me whatever the facts you got, and I'll solve the problem. So
Right.
The disc nails that. And so then now so now, like, I know people know how to, in my office, know how to approach them. All the admins know, don't come in and tell me, hey, I had, this loan officer, attorney, blah, 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 said this to me. I don't care. I'm trying to get this deal across, I don't care, because that's the way I'm wired. I mean, it's not like I don't care about them and their happiness. It's just that's just the way. It doesn't make me a bad guy. So a lot of people think I'm a bad guy because I'm wired that way. But once you understand that I'm wired that way, then you know how to talk to me, and you're not going to be offended. Same thing with, like I've dealt with some high S people, and
oh yeah,
so they're emotionless. So I catch something wrong, and I'm like, hello, I hear what, aren't you supposed to say, I'm sorry, and I will never happen again, or, and I just, then I learned that they're emotionless. They're the type of people that will clam up under pressure, and then they go home and they cry at home. So yeah. It doesn't mean they're bad. No, this just means that's the way they're wired. That's why it's my responsibility to find out how my employees are wired and how I'm wired. And I know and how I react, and how the learning that I'm oversensitive. So I gotta pay attention to me and the way I am, and how my other people are too. So I can't approach each one the same way, because one person's going to be demotivated, the other person's going to be motivated.
Right.
So that's why you got to find out who you are.
Yeah, and it helps people. Yeah, and it helps. Yeah, and it helps you understand how to team people together too. And Roger on here said D's are misunderstood. So
thank you. Thank you, brother.
One thing that I want to wire back to is that on your sort of 5 interesting facts here, you said you found your life purpose by switching jobs. And a lot of us have been fortunate by that. And some of us, I think, are still in that question or discovery. Tell me a little bit about how that happened.
So Roger, this is going to be a testimony to the disc. So I go to college. My dad wanted me to be a doctor, so I got in all the high school. I was in all these advanced classes, and I'm a grinder, so I got straight A's in advanced biology, chemistry, calculus, blah 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 blah. Right. Then I go to college. I'm like, I don't want to be a doctor. I just don't want to be a doctor. And so I'm looking. And I said, well, I like math. Wow, accountants make at big 8 accounting firms back then are making like 175,000. Okay, cool. I'm going to be an accountant, and I'm going to be a partner one day. So I got there, and I worked for Arthur Andersen, and they were phenomenal. They treated me great. The company was amazing. My managers were amazing. I had nothing to complain about except this. I was miserable because what was happening is I was taking a square peg and trying to fit it in a round hole. I did not belong there because I'm not wired to look at numbers all day. I was miserable. And so I just, after 3 years, I just said, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. I got to go find something else to do. And they're like, where are you moving to? I said, Chicago. And they're like, do you want to transfer to the Chicago branch? I'm like, I'm done. I said, I'm serious. I am miserable. I'm not happy. I don't want to live I don't want to just work to work. I just realized then I started growing up and started thinking, okay, I want to do something I like to do, and I want to be around people. So I did a lot of research, and I found this real estate firm and went to work for it, and I loved it. But then came the next phase, Dean, which is I'm like, okay, I really like this. I really enjoy working with people. I love being the front person where I see them react to buying a home and everything. And then, after a couple of years in the business, I'm like, there's got to be something more to this. There's got to be something more that I can do. So I'm showing this one house to a couple, and they were clearly, the house was too small for them. They're planning on, having 5 kids and it's only a 2-bedroom house. I'm like, well, there's there's no place to go, in this house. So there was a single mom there, and she's looking around wide-eyed and looking like this. I'm like, gotcha, this is your home, isn't it? And she goes, I'd love it, but my lender, granted, this was back in 1987. She goes, my lender told me because I'm a single mom that they won't give her a loan. I said, tell you what. I said, do you like me? She said, oh yeah, you're a funny guy. I said, do you trust me? And she goes, absolutely. I said, we're going to go to my lender, and we're going to get you approved and get you into this home. And then we have a document the last document signed is called a RESPA, and has like all the monies where they're being transferred and everything. What we're going to do is we're going to make a copy of that. We're going to go back to your bank. I'm going to hold them down, and you're going to take that RESPA and shove it up where the sun don't shine. And we're friends for life ever since then. She got the house. But the game-changing part, Dean, was when everything was down, closed, it was great, it was emotional, she cried and stuff, and that was cool, and it just really jacked me up, a lot of energy. I'm walking out, I get in my car, so I'm driving away, she's walking outside, and she looked up to heaven, and she goes, thank you. And I pulled over, and I had to take my own moment. And then I realized that I can really help people. And so then I thought, how do I, I'm learning this stuff on my own. How do I help more people? And I said, I'm going to become an expert in everything out there with, so credit repair, grants, down payment assistance programs. I want to know I want to be obsessive about this stuff. This isn't just hey, if it's out there and I get to run across it. I need to know everything about everything. So like what I do with my team is every Tuesday morning we have a learning time, and I'm bringing people in, just talking about new programs and re-educating them. This guy's been in for 6 months to come back in, like a program out there now that's crazy. They call it the Chinoa Fund. So you can attach it to an FHA loan. Not every lender has it. So FHA is 3.5% down, which is crazy good, right? Yeah. So now the Chinoa Fund comes in and finances the other 3.5%. So you're 100% down. If you get a seller that covers the closing costs, you're in for zero money. In fact, we just had one of those Chinoa deals close, and the buyer got their $1,000 earnest money refunded. Boom. So that's excessive value. So once, that works good for somebody that makes a lot of money, but just spends everything they got. They still pay their bills on time. I don't mind I don't want to give it to somebody that's going to go in foreclosure. So,
yeah, right.
Excuse me. So there's so much value out there. And if you can what I do is I'm always looking for value. Where can I find, and I love it, man. So I hunt for value, and I capture that information. And so you see stuff when I talk about real estate, it may be my open houses or a new listing or something unique that other people aren't talking about. You know, there's going to be changes coming out. Like Ida's got a new change coming out. So I'm doing a video tomorrow about this new change with Ida and having their own MCC program. So like here's just a quick example. So MCC is a City of Chicago program where you, believe it or not, costs $375 to sign up for when you're purchasing a home. You can write off. So I mean, you can figure out 25% of the mortgage insurance that you pay, mortgage interest that you pay for the year. 25% of that, up to $2,000, is that you can get back a tax credit every year until that interest runs out. So I took $150,000, amortized it at 4% for 10 years, and each year that person's getting $2,000, and it was still going steady. So I mean, there's a lot of loan officers don't even know about that. You know, I mean, I know more about appraisals and rebuttals than 99% of the loan officers do out there, because I make it a point to learn this stuff. I'm always taking classes. I see a good appraisal class, I'm going to take it. My goal is if I don't learn something new and it's a rehash, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with rehashing.
Oh yeah, supporting your muscle memory, if you will. You know, it's like, and your memory is your main muscle.
That's why I'm bringing stuff to my team as well too. I want that so our goal is to provide excessive value to everyone that we touch, and it's done differently for sellers, buyers, and investors. Like investors, I'll give you an example of our mission. Our mission with investors is to provide get them the highest ROI return in the shortest period of time.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. In a lot of the people that you've mentioned, a lot of people here that you listen to that motivate you, things like that. So, so if we're going to look at, obviously besides the Influence Factory, but shows to listen to or books to read, authors, people that you find that drive you, that motivate you, what does that look like in your world?
So one of my favorite guys is John Maxwell. Yeah. I think he's smart. And John was a pastor in Ohio, so that's kind of where he got all of his. The Bible has every answer you need. It's just written in a way that you really have to dig in.
Sort of like Zig. Wasn't Zig a Baptist minister?
Yeah.
Zig Ziglar. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting how these guys learn all these principles for years, and then they just take them and they put them in layman's terms so that we can apply them. But yeah, I love him. I love Robin Sharma. You go to his page, he's got so many podcasts and articles. I mean, you can get lost. I'm a Grant Cardone fan, a Gary Vee fan. I like, type in your face, Gary Vee's a little intense with the language, but once you get past all, and the funny thing is, I've talked to people that know him. He doesn't cuss at all in real life. I mean, when he's off stage, when he gets to the camera, it's all of a sudden like it's bar talk. You son of a, But you know what? If you get past all that bravado and you listen what he's saying, he's right. He's Grant Cardone. I mean, these are high producing people. I want to listen to these are high producing Ds, so I can resonate a lot easier with him. Robin Sharma would be probably better for the milder crowd, the regular crowd. But us high Ds, we kind of gravitate more to somebody that punches us right in our face and wakes us up. That resonates and works for me. So there's all different types. I mean, Tony Robbins, I've read a few books by him. Phenomenal. Those are probably my main guys that I listen to, that I mentioned. Any mix, you can go on YouTube. I actually, if I, just to get really amped up, I like listening to Ray Lewis mic'd up, the retired middle linebacker for the Ravens.
Oh yes.
Or listen to him on the field.
I have heard
how he goes to work, man. How he shows up, how he motivates everybody else around him. he's there to win, and he gets it. And he tells me right away whether he really is all in or not. He shows up on the field, baby, and he's all in. And he makes sure everybody else around him is all in. So he's a true leader. And that's why I like him. Another guy I like to listen to is the old Carolina Panther wide receiver, that short guy, Steve Smith Jr.
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah, I mean these guys are high D's. So that's what I can relate to. That's what gets me going. Other people might be better off listening to even Tony Robbins is kind of intense, but Robin Sharma.
Oh, yeah.
Robin Sharma, self-proclaimed, top, has more Fortune, Forbes 100 CEOs than any other coach. The guy is more kind of relaxed, laid back, really cool vibe, but heavy message. So, what I would recommend is find that style that works for you, that's going to motivate you. Just because I like Grant Cardone or Gary Vee, you might really get turned off by them. So don't listen to them. There's all different types of motivational guys out there. Maxwell's really kind of cool, really funny. Robin Sharma is just a real serious, relaxed, delivered. Love him, man. They all have great messages.
Yeah,
So,
like when I met John Maxwell in Florida last year in person, and what was interesting as he wasn't like super high energy like Robbins, and I'm used to that, pump you up, that sort of stuff, and yet he was calming and connecting for me, almost like you're sitting across from your dad or something, and he's like, this is why this is good, and it caused me to slow down instead of being like all jacked up on it. So I like the both. I like the both. I like both.
I do too. And that's why I like him and Robin, because they're more conversational. It's like instead, like these other guys, you're like you're listening to a pep rally. Let's go, and I love that. But you get to the Robin Sharmas and the Maxwell, they're very, very conversational, and they're not really like jacked up, like it's time to go to war. So everybody has their style, and you got to figure out. And I like a mix of, I like a mix of everything, because all of it works. But some people may get turned off. If something doesn't work for you, just don't use it. There's plenty of different flavors.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I was just notified we're about to go to extra innings. So unfortunately, I could talk about this all day. So what we like to get from everybody is just type in really quick. What's one thing that you're going to take away and you're going to put into practice today that you heard from Frank, or maybe you heard in the news today that you want, from our news that you're going to really resonated with you and you're going to put into practice? Type that in now. What we want to do real quick is we have a poll going up in terms of some of the programs that we have to help you grow your influence. If you're interested in any of those, just click on the ones that jump out at you. Mostly popular is the Influence Development Program, our 90-day program, but just click on whatever makes sense. And next up, we have Sarah Scroggins. She's a social media manager at Advocate Healthcare, 10 years of experience in social and digital. So she's a hoot. So we'll be glad to have her on. And Frank, a lot of people are typing in the affirmations. So the one thing that resonated with them is the affirmation side of things. But Kate, what resonated with you as Frank was going through all this?
I really like Frank's like unapologetic voice. We talk about doing like authentic, but I think he's like a step beyond that. He's just like, he's here and he's who he is. And I really like that. I really like how he's coveted it towards his industry. I think it's really special.
Yeah, that's cool. Jackson, what about you?
Yeah, so I really liked the taking that disc test. Yeah, I looked it up while you guys were chatting, and I was reading a little bit more about it. But yeah, it's very cool. I think I'm at that point in my life where I am like in my 20s, so I don't know I definitely don't know everything, but I need to have a better understanding about myself, before I can go and learn that stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and we actually have a license for it, so that reminded me. So Kate, that might actually help you with corralling your sea of interns over there too. So
I
we'll
need
have
that.
we'll have some fun. I know we did them I think last year or the year before, but it's a good reminder, Frank. So thank you for that. So with that being said, we always like to pick a winner that has engaged with us and somebody new as well. Jackson, we had a lot of new people on today. So who wins the Starbucks gift card?
So the winner of this week's Starbucks gift card is actually someone who is not on always, but they have been on in the past, as Roger. So he's on pretty frequently, but yeah, so definitely, yeah, he was chatting it up in there, and
Congrats, Roger.
and fully engaged. So
Yeah. So Kate, who do you have?
I don't know if it counts, but we actually had Frank Montro's team interacting with us
Oh,
a lot
what?
on Twitter. So backing you up over there. I feel like that's worth a Starbucks gift card.
Yeah, we'll send one to the shop over there. So just
Love it.
pick somebody and we'll send it over there. Just remember, so the rules here, folks, is whenever you have a Starbucks or whether it's from us or somebody else, remember when you sit down with somebody, please teach them something that you've learned, something new. Pass that on, because everybody deserves to have that mentor, that coach out there, and each and every one of you are mentors and coach to the world. So that's part of your influence. That's part of building your influence, and we want you all to be top influencers in the world, right, Frank?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Frank Montro, for joining us. It was a pleasure having you on. We'll make sure you get to know more about some of our other events coming up too, so we can feature you at some of those. And always a pleasure seeing your smiley face and your positive posts. So don't ever change.
Mega dittos. Thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun. I always enjoy helping people and passing on what I've learned that's helped me as well too.
Cool
Thanks,
beans, cool
guys.
beans. All right, everybody. Well, from all of us here at Social Jack headquarters and from Frank Montro's home over there, we wish you all success and influence in the world. Take care, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
bye.
Bye.